What's up, everybody? This is Joe Carlton here. Welcome to the Week 16 High Stakes Reaction Show on the Fantasy Savvy YouTube channel. And tonight I will be joined by Joey Brown, Josh Moling, and Michael Gamberg. We're going to go over some of the injuries that happened over the weekend. We'll chime in on some of the better performances this week, some of the disappointing performances. And Joey's got did some extra special research for us tonight. He gave us some 2-week totals for the fantasy playoff scoring. Some guys, we're going to just evaluate where they're at, talk about the randomness of the 3-week shootout, and evaluate where we took these guys in the draft compared to some of the other guys' 2-week totals, and see who is a great value and who we overvalued and stuff like that. It's all coming at you here, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show. All right, guys, how's it going this evening?
Good.
So week 16 happened. How are y'all's team? First of all, we'll start with how'd you guys do this weekend? How are some of our teams looking in the shootout? I didn't have any big spike weeks. I'm still had the same consistent 150, 160, 168 range. Not out of it, but it means I'm going to need like a 240 or something like that and next week. So that's kind of where I'm at, middle of the pack. Teams consistent, but no spike weeks. How you guys looking?
We were sitting real pretty after Thursday night with Nakua. Didn't even get a decent floor game out of Amon-Ra. Our kicker and D put up duds for us. So as of right now, we've moved up about 60 spots in the prime time. We're sitting at 118, something like that. We don't have any players left for tonight, so we're sitting right there in the middle. We'll need a big week to land in the cash, but you never know.
Nice. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, decent. I had one team with Puka, but the problem with some of my teams was I sat Stafford. I mean, I wish I was telling you before the show, 2020 hindsight, I could get a mulligan because I sat him for Dak mostly, and that was with Pickens. I had Pickens. So what are you going to do? That hurt me, and probably my best team yesterday when your boy Henderson went out, that kind of deflated the week. I needed to make up a little ground, and him getting, what did he get, like 0? Yeah, basically
2.2, yeah, something too, yeah.
And
but
it's in that league also. I'm probably gonna. I could, we're going up in the week playoffs for first and second. And that guy might probably could win. He'll be first. Unless CMC lays an egg, he'll be number 1 in the OC after tonight.
Nice. I didn't mention that. I'm actually, it's dead even. I think I have a 4-point lead going into tonight. I have Jonathan Taylor, and my opponent has CMC. That's for a 350 an online championship first place. We each got second place. I had the best record. He had the most points. But yeah, I got a 4-point cushion. Jonathan Taylor going up against CMC. And then next week, of course. Yeah. So it's a battle. Yeah.
Right.
As expected. Joey, how are some of your teams looking, man?
Well, I'm going to 2 finals in home leagues, and then dynasty league. I'm in the running for one of the top 3, so that pays out. And then Gladiator, I was first all the way through until Josh Allen laid an egg. So I'm about 20 out. So I still got a chance to finish top 2 in one of my Gladiator leagues too. That team was like top 100 something. It wasn't too bad considering how many teams was in it. But that's not no national overall. But all in all, I'm good.
Nice. Speaking of home leagues, I took over a keeper team this year. It was pretty good foundation as Jamar Chase and Chase Brown and stuff, guys like that. I'm trying to think of who else is on that team. I drafted Quinshon Judkins. Like, it's a good team. I believe I have a 37.7 point cushion going into tonight, and my opponent has CMC and Jawan Jennings. It's going to be close. I had a nice week, put up 174 points. Both of our teams are probably going to be the highest scoring teams in the playoffs so far. But winner goes to the finals. It's just a small league, nothing big. But that's where I'm at with home league. You mentioned the dynasty team, Joe. I also have a dynasty team. I'll shout out Ryan Kennedy. It's my first dynasty startup draft I've ever done. We're in our third year. Finally making it to the making a run. I'm probably going to be facing Bear Down Ryan in the finals. I don't know if you guys have followed Bear Down Ryan on X, but I think it's going to be him and I in the finals, and that's a small $20 little dynasty league, but I've learned a lot from it over the 3 years, so I just wanted to shout it out. Yeah.
Cool.
Took me 3 years to make a run, but here I am. We're going for it. And that's pretty much it. Why don't we go ahead? Why don't we go over some injuries that went down over in week 15? Josh, I'll kick it over to you for this. Break it down for us, man.
All right, here they are in no particular order. Lamar Jackson left the game last night with what's being called a back bruise. He's day-to-day. Quinshon Judkins, heartbreaker. Dislocated ankle, broken fibula. The good news is the MRIs came back clean, so there's no ligament damage. So he should be good to go for the beginning of next year, no problems. Flournoy for the Cowboys had a heck of a start to the game yesterday with 2 touchdowns and then went down with a knee injury. I couldn't find anything on an update on that. Pat Bryant for the Broncos, he got absolutely destroyed on a hit at the very end of that game, and took him out on the cart. Looked pretty nasty. Took him out on the cart, took him straight to the hospital. Got released with just a concussion, so that's good. Minshew, he's straight to IR, no ACL damage. The Chiefs are starting. Nobody knows who the Chiefs are starting Thursday. I think it's a lot of Kuhn, something like that. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
Broncos Day's going to feast.
Yeah. Vidal, he went out yesterday with a neck injury, which the Hampton owners low-key loved because he got a lot more touches. But he's all good. He's considered day-to-day, so he should be able to get back in there. DK Metcalf got suspended for 2 games for being a knucklehead. And that's significant because Calvin Austin left the game with a hamstring injury. I don't remember Calvin Austin coming back in, so I don't know how significant that is. But could be Adam Thielen and Kenny Gainwell season. They'll just roll with Kenny Gainwell. They don't need wide receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown popped up on the injury report today with a knee injury. I don't think it's serious, though. They're playing Thursday, so it's probably just a reason for him to not be practicing today. Josh Allen, his x-rays on his foot came back all right yesterday. He came back in the game. He is considered day-to-day. He'll be fine. He's an animal. Devontae Adams, there's no update on his hamstring. I believe he was – if I'm not mistaken, I think he was already ruled out for this week, but I'm not positive. Jordan Love is in concussion protocol, so it doesn't look good for him. And Malik Willis injured his shoulder. So that's significant. Even though Willis came back into the game after that shoulder injury, it's still being listed. I think Willis will probably play, but that's something to keep your eye on. And then everyone's favorite rookie running back, Travion Henderson. Some of us just needed 40 yards out of him last night for, to hit some parlays. And he gets knocked out with a head injury, a concussion. Didn't see anything that officially said he was in protocol, but you got to assume that he went into concussion protocol. So
he hit the ground. He hit the ground pretty hard, back of his head.
Man, you see those guys and you see their helmet bounce, and you're like, that's it. It's crazy, but that's the main list of the injuries there. A bunch of significant ones impacting a lot of wide receivers and team outputs, and then some defenses that might be able to capitalize.
Yeah.
Speaking of defenses, Joey, I got to shut you up, man, for the Saints defense dropping 20 points this week. You called that 3, maybe 4 weeks ago. Take a look at the Saints defense. Their 3-week matchups pretty juicy and cashed in this week. 20 defense points out of the Saints defense. So good call, Joe.
And then Mike, he had a good one too. He was able to switch over to Tennessee defense this weekend. That helped. I mean, it wasn't a big point, but it worked out better for him and his team.
Double digits.
I sat New England a couple times, and I sat Kansas City, the team they were playing.
Yeah.
But also, the Saints have the Titans next week too. For people that rolled with them, they're going to probably give them another 10 points, maybe, or 10 plus. So
they have spike weeks. When Joey mentioned that, I went back and looked, and I said, "Damn, they have some spike weeks in there. The potential's there for them to put up 20, and they did." So, 20 points goes a long way coming out of your defense in a 3-week contest or in any playoff matchup. Really, you get 20 points out of your defense. It's big. So,
it fills a lot of holes. Defense and kickers are really important because you ain't going to really find nobody off the waiver wire toward the end part of the year. You really can't add, but you can add pieces like that more than you can like a flyer, those.
Yeah, you say your defense and kicker is not important until they put up a 2 or a 3.
Oh, I know.
And it's in the shootout, and then all of a sudden you're in a mess. But,
and the other guy's kicker puts up a 25, and you're like,
yeah.
That happens.
Well, I always say the goal is to get 25 between your kicker and your defense combined. If you can get 25, then you're on even playing field.
That's one thing I learned a long time ago. When I first started playing, there used to be a site, and I loved the guy too. He don't do it no more, but he's still a good player. Was Lou Tranquilli. He's from out around where Michael is from, but his site used to be BFD. It was Birth, Fantasy, Football, and Death. And the key to his was when he do his waiver wire, his defenses was scheduled for 3 weeks out, like 3 weeks out at a time. And I'm like, I got used to that. And you could pick them up for like $2 or $3 on the waiver wire before they ever emerge. So that was something I picked up on from that site years ago. It used to be a real good site, but they're out of business.
That's how you do it, Joe. You got to plan it out in segments of the season. Who you're targeting for defenses, and then also pay attention for the ones that come out of nowhere. There's always a couple of those. Like I remember early on, like the first 4 or 5 weeks, Atlanta defense gave us like 2 or 3 serviceable weeks, and then they fell off the map.
Until last week. Until this week, geez.
Chargers defense was another one. I feel like they.
That's not kryptonite. At least McBride's, that's for sure. So They woke up at the wrong time for me.
Nice. All right. So now that we got defenses out of the way, we'll
There's a defensive question in the chat, Joe. Thoughts on starting Chargers defense versus the Texans?
I don't see that. Why don't I see that? Is my chat not updated?
It might not be updated.
Oh, there it is. Now I see it.
Let's see.
Thoughts on starting Chargers defense versus the Texans? Well, it's probably a decent play. I mean, Houston's offense isn't going to blow anybody away. Their running game is kind of up in the air at the moment. They don't have, their first two starters. It actually is Woody mocked. What's the deal with Woody Mox? Is he still officially? Is he any chance of him returning? I mean, even if he returns, the Chargers defense is pretty solid all around. I've had them on a couple of teams, and let me just take a look. I know they have a good. They're a good floor play. I know that. Let me look at them game by game.
It's a relatively low total too, under like 39.5.
Yeah, so they've given us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, 8 out of 16 games, 15 games, and double-digit fantasy points. That's just standing scoring, points for, points against, starting at 12, sacks, interception, sacks worth 1, turnovers worth 2, and to hit double-digit points, that's a great floor. I think, like I said, I think they're a great floor. Actually, they got 22. It's like eight or 9 games. They have a 20-point ceiling. I think that their ceiling is between like 13 and 20 points. Houston, they are at home against Houston, so that's a big difference. I know Houston play is pretty solid all around, but they take it to the next level at home. This game is on the West Coast, so I like it. That's my thoughts. If I don't have any other perfect options or great specific matchups with a good defense against a bad offense, then I'm totally fine with taking a shot on the Chargers versus the Texans.
I just wonder if he's got anybody in the waiver wire that we might want to add to the question. If he's got anybody he could pick up, I don't know. I mean, just
who's got Joe? Who do you got in mind? Who's got all the good matchups this week?
Well, of course, I'd have to really look at the schedule for 17. Let me see. I don't know. I'm wondering if the viewers got anybody who they've got in mind, that's on their waiver wire.
I don't know. I think I like the Chargers.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't. They're a decent defense.
Yeah.
Your Patriots got the Jets. That's a bad one. If you.
And the Saints, of course, you mentioned that already. Tennessee. Let's see who the Vikings have. Are the Vikings possibly available? I don't know if the Vikings would be available, but Detroit. Nah, it's probably not a good game for Minnesota.
Tampa Bay's not a great defense, but they've got Miami this week.
Yeah,
with Ewers and
right.
The Bengals defense. They're not exactly the 85 Bears, and they capitalized on quite a few turnovers. So that might be somebody to run with this week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I wish the Giants was in Jersey. They would get the bad Geno Smith maybe, but it's in Vegas.
Nice.
They might still get the bad Geno Smith.
Might get here.
You might get
I don't know what you get with that guy.
All right, so let's kick the kickers and defenses aside. We spent a good amount of time acknowledging them and giving our secrets about the position. Let's move on
the Saints kickers for real, which we got to get Hoff to sign up on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good game.
22.9 points. Yeah, there were three big performances out of kickers. It was Cardinals, Texans, and Saints. And then the Bears, Rams, Panthers gave us a decent total too. So, nothing too crazy. The Saints with the 23-pointer though.
What was crazy was Seattle's kicker, who's just been ringing it up.
Yeah, good call.
Puts up a 2.
And they scored 38 points. Didn't they score
killed?
And they scored 38 points, right?
Yeah.
38 points that they kicker got me to. Yeah, I have him because he scored 25 the week before. And
he's been solid. You can't bench him, really. I mean, you have to play.
No, you got to go with it.
I mean, I suppose in the 3-week shootout, it doesn't really kill you because he got a 25 the week before. But if you're in a head-to-head matchup in the playoffs, that might have hurt. That's too good. Especially if you went up against one of the kickers that got a 17. Like, oof. Yeah. But yeah, all right. So let's talk about some of the bigger performances. We'll start with some of the bigger performances of the week. I believe top dog is Puka Nacua. Took full advantage of Davante Adams not being active. 12 catches on 16 targets for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. 46.5 PPR points, absolute monster. Stafford also poured in a bunch of points. I believe he had 41 on NFFC, scoring 6-point passing touchdowns. Yeah, this is a stack that's taken you straight up to the top of the leaderboards there in any 3-week playoff contests. Winning your head-to-head matchups for sure. I mean, you're talking about almost 90 points between two guys if you're going against somebody for a league title or you're in a head-to-head playoff matchup. Even if it's 4-point passing touchdowns, you got yourself a 70 to 80 point stack right there, right off the bat, and two players. That's been a league winner for sure.
Most important thing about that game, Joe, was that the Rams lost. And now they can't let up. They have to win this week. So the foot stays on the throttle. Should be looking good for another big week.
Right. And they're at Atlanta. So Atlanta's defense has been pretty railing the last few weeks.
And good weather indoor.
So and they have the type of offense that can score quickly, so maybe this game has a high total. So wheels up.
It's 49.
Yeah, wheels up for your LA Ram guys.
Rams and Falcons.
Even if Davante Adams comes back, I mean if Davante Adams makes his way back, I mean I see them holding him out because they're a playoff. They need him for the playoffs. They want him to be healthy. But if he does come back, I could see them only using him in like red zone packages. Yep. So, I mean, Puka's volume isn't going anywhere. He's going to be a beast. I mean, I think his floor is 20 points pretty much. I don't see him going below that. It'd be pretty weird. But yeah. Another player that surprised me has been surprising me is Chris Olave. Gave us 10 catches, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 targets. His underlying metrics have always been there. His usage, his targets, his alpha wide receiver 1 traits, we'll say. But his production just hasn't been there because quarterback play has kind of been the issue with the Saints. Joe, I'm going to let you piggyback off of that because I know you were talking up Tyler Shuck earlier when we were talking on the phone. I don't know if you want to go over some of that research you did.
Shootout. What I've done, I'm not saying nobody on these airways. I'm not saying nobody sit none of these guys. It's just when you look at it, there's underlying players that you don't think about. And that don't. Let's go ahead and get into it. NFFC scoring, of course, 6-point passing touchdowns. All right, for week 15 and 16, Trevor Lawrence has got 97.55 points, and Josh Allen's got 40.75. Now, does anybody bank on that?
Right.
And then look, here's 3 more I threw out there. Tyler Shuck, he's outscored Josh Allen. He's had 45 points, Sneaky offense I will invest in next year. Jacoby Brissett, 43.70, and Baker Mayfield, 42.10. I mean, there's some players that – this is just the shootout totals. Now, this for just 2 weeks. I could go through more, but I just jotted down some. Baker – it wouldn't surprise me if Baker's got a torn labrum or something. I mean, he's got 4 good wide receivers. He can't hit them. I mean, but the numbers don't lie. I mean, that's how big of a gap that Trevor Lawrence has got on everybody in the field. I mean, and plus when you talk about Olave, I'll go ahead and go to there. Let's see, a lot of people use this George Pickens in these shootouts. He scored 32.60. Chris Olave's 57.30 for 2 weeks. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, when you sit and I'll go over more of these as we go on.
If he stays healthy, because he's got that concussion issues, the last couple of years. So he's healthy, which he has been, even with a average or below average quarterback. The guy produces all year.
He's a workhorse volume wise. His snap share is always close to 30%. His targets are always near the double digits or in the double digits, and he's really got no outside competition for anybody to challenge that, really. And the team's always playing from behind. They're a losing team, and you enter a quarterback that can sling it a little bit and maybe develop a little bit of a chemistry, and there you go. There's your spike weeks. I mean, it's great to see, because as fantasy guys, we look for those underlying numbers, and we're like, the usage is there, but the production isn't, and we just what's missing from there. And it's usually a quarterback. It's or inconsistent game script. But
they got 5 wins and they look better. They're not as Kellen Moore's got that team playing better with no Alvin Kamara too, by the way. I mean, but that's going to be a better little team next year. Let me piggyback one off on Josh when he talked about earlier on injuries that he mentioned Kenneth Gainwell. All right, I'm just talking shootout. Jahmyr Gibbs 32.60, Kenneth Gainwell 43.40. I mean, it's just. I mean, Gibbs is these guys. First rounder. Gainwell was probably a waiver wire ad or a late round flyer.
Right.
Unsung heroes are going to arrive, these last 3 weeks. Like I said, Bijan has been he scored 60 points already in the first 2 weeks. Chase Brown, 48.90. And James Cook has outscored Josh Allen, 57.80 to his 40.75.
Yeah, going back.
You're starting Gainwell because maybe your Woody Marks was injured and you put him in the flex, or because you're short on wide receivers because of injuries or something.
I played Gainwell 2 weeks in a row on the New York 350 because I did 0 RB in that one.
I'll tell you what. Now we're talking Gainwell. I mean, look at how about Warren?
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, 140-something yards. I mean, Dan Campbell's worried. He's taking over the offense, but the Detroit defense is a total sieve against the run. They gave up almost 200 yards just the running backs there, and the week before they were the same thing. They can't stop the run. He should focus. He better focus more on his defense, because they're just like Swiss cheese right now against the run.
Right.
Ridiculous yesterday. I mean,
and you Puka guys, he scored 74.40 in the first 2 weeks. Almost 75 points in the first 2 weeks.
They have Minnesota next week. Is this how we should feel good about Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason type of situation? Or
against the Lions?
I think an SEC team would do well against that defense. I mean, it's just look at the stats. It's It's mind
How do
boggling.
you
Look at
how do
Will.
you feel? How do you feel about your Amon-Ra's and your Gibbs going up against the Vikings? Who I don't think they're not allowed a passing touchdown in 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, but that on that side of the ball with the they're playing with the third string tight end in the game. The center. Their offensive line's so beat up, Detroit. But on the defense, that's just an embarrassment. The last 2 weeks.
I think you
they
have
deserve to
to
stay home. They deserve to be home for
You got to start. You got to start them.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to like it.
But I'm
You're not going to like it.
You got a third string
defense.
center, man.
Yeah,
you played 3 centers, I think, in that game. It was brutal.
Everybody's going. We'll have to. I have to use them on Raw too in 2 or 3 teams, but like I said, Flores is going to present a problem, like Josh was saying. He's got a good defense. Minnesota's got a good defense.
Joe, in your 350, did you draft Gainwell and keep him, or did you pick him up off of waivers?
Not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to double check that.
You've had him a long time, then.
Yeah.
Either way, you've had him.
You don't know. Give yourself credit. Say you drafted him.
Yeah.
I think I just don't want to say it and be wrong. I think I did draft him. I did 0. Oh, I could have picked him up. I'm thinking maybe.
Well, Warren got hurt. Warren got hurt the first couple weeks of the season, didn't he? And Gainwell came in, had a couple real good games. So either way, picking him up and hanging on to him was smart too.
I had picked him up on Dynasty team and dropped him. I was just needing running back help and dropped him, and I didn't get him back. But yeah, I'll go ahead and go through the rest of these. There's not a lot, but like let's say JSN, for instance, he scored 41.90, and a player we've all talked about on the show the last 2 weeks that he'd been doing better. Cortland Sutton has scored 44.90. He's outscored JSN. And guess who else? The unsung hero that nobody has wanting to play, nobody wanted to play. DJ Moore, 44.80. He scored 22 points a game these last 2 weeks. And then, Jalen Waddle has killed teams in a shootout. He scored 16.80. Tedero McMillan, a higher pick, 23.80. Devontae Smith, 23.20. And Michael Wilson has had 29.60. I could go down and write down more. I could find more variances, but I'm just looking like DJ Moore. Not many people, unless you injured, you ain't really been playing him. He ain't done nothing.
It's amazing. Just back looking on Olave. He had 25 targets the last 2 weeks. He's got 145 targets for the year. That's got to be close. Olave.
I could kick myself in the butt going back to these drafts. He was basically 6th, 7th round target monster sitting there, and I passed up on him. Wide receiver 4 flex.
The top players, I looked at some of the primetime teams. I didn't play a primetime this year, but just looking at some of the best teams, especially the Chad's team, a lot of the common denominators: Nakua, JSN, and Olave. And Olave is a 6th, 7th round draft pick.
Yeah, or later.
At least in the OC, I assume on those teams too.
What's the quarterbacks looking like? They're mid to late round quarterbacks as well, I'm assuming.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
Drake May, Matthew Stafford.
I think Chad Schroeder's got Trevor Lawrence on his number 1 overall team.
It's possible.
I think it is. I think I was looking at it. He had
Chad's primetime team. He's got that was a neighbor's team too. Went into the over.
Yeah.
And here's a few more on the tight ends. We'll go ahead and go there. Pitts 64.40 and McBride 44.10. And then I'll tell you who's been good too. Not like them two.
Dalton Schultz
36.10. But here, last 2 weeks in the shootout, after coming off injury, Dalton Kincaid 6.4.
Yeah, he's brutal.
Jake Ferguson, who's been a good one, 8.50. Colston Loveland, 16.10. Like I said, I could go on and do it.
How about, who's been good? How about what did Fannin have the last 2 weeks? He's been solid.
I didn't look at his, but he has been solid.
He's a solid guy.
He's going to be a guy I'll be looking at next year for sure.
Yeah,
especially in the
joke. Wide receiver one, really there.
Fannon's got 31 over the 2 weeks.
That's good.
I
just thought it was a good little exercise, something just to look at. Like I said, these players that we may not be using. Who's going to use DJ Moore? Unless you have to.
The guy who I told you, the guy who I'm playing with. With
all the injuries, I would have plugged him in if
especially with Odunze out. It makes sense.
Dunze and Burden.
Yeah, Josh, I got the answer here. So I picked up Kenneth Gainwell in week 2 for $83.
Money well spent.
83 fab, and in that same week, I see Duke in one of my leagues picked him up for $15. So then I see Steve D'Angelo, he picked him up in week 1 for $15, and then I hate to dime him out, but he dropped him in week 3. So
here's the lineup that could win the OC. He's probably after tonight with McCaffrey. He's 2 right now. I played against him in the league. He's got Josh Allen, the quarterback, McCaffrey and Cooker's running backs. He's got Olave, Puka, and he started Quentin Johnson over Diggs, who had a good Pitts, and DJ Moore. He started. It's a
good lineup for this week.
Quentin Johnson and DJ Moore. He sat Diggs. I got to.
What did he score this week?
What did he score?
Sounds like about one.
He's got 200 going into the night with McCaffrey.
200. Oh wow.
He's got
no big deal.
And he said
with McCaffrey.
He's going to be one. I don't know if he's going to.
That's the thing. Like we've talked about the last couple of weeks, but you draft, you spend the time building your team, and then you got to be quick to pick up the guys, and ultimately you got to stay healthy or have the right guys on your bench, especially when it gets to the shootout, and guys that you don't think, maybe it's not the guys that got you there, that are the guys that put you over the top.
Right. I tell y'all something that I do, a little secret. Like I said, it ain't that big of a deal, but especially these guys who play a lot of high volume, and that week 1, like when everybody's rankings come out, like in the prime time or something, I'll click on like the Chads, Chris Vaccaro, Kimra, Lowy, all of them. I like to look and see who they drafted, I sit there thinking, well, I didn't draft that person, but they're available on my waiver wire, so I'll go pick them up for $1. I always go look at these players that I know, like Michael Edelman, all of them, just like, why did they draft them? Like, well, they got several teams. They got them on several teams. I'm like, let's go pick this player up for $1 or $2 before they go off. That's just something I do.
The key of what I found to do is, like, you look at, say, Chad, some of his teams or anybody's team that's up there. You look at week 16, but then I look at the lineup. Go look at week 1. I look at week 1. And a lot of times they made maneuver, either waiver wire or they had some guy off the bench. So that's what I like to look at. Where do they start, and how are they finishing in week 14? You look at that's what I find that you can really learn.
Yep.
What was going on, because like Chad's best team, he's got neighbors, right?
Your guy Nelson is great for that. I've been in a couple of leagues with him. I've been in a couple of leagues with him, and the finishing touches that he puts on some of his teams is just phenomenal.
He's a good way. He's great at the fab. He knows what he's. He works. You got to work. It's behind the scenes. Superstars anywhere. LeBron James, no matter what, you see them work behind the scenes. They're working. The way they work is. That's why they're great.
You always have to break it down. Okay, you got preseason draft, you got in season, and then you got to finish. It's almost like a three-step process. You have to work in season management and the wire just as important as you do. Your team is going to flip. They're going to look totally different based on the injuries and everything. I mean, that's just the starting point. It's the preseason and the drafting. But the real work handles on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah, it's the grind.
It is.
The grind. By the time you hit week 15 and 16, you're feeling like Jake Paul's jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I own stock of a Lever or Advil. You know, yet you're using it, like, gives you a headache. That stuff's tough, but that's what the great ones. That's what these guys do. They don't just sit there and draft and a lot of hard work. You know, blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes.
Method to the madness.
I got a player I want to mention to you guys. You guys tell me if it's a one-off or can we expect some more of the same this week in a good matchup against Tennessee, and that would be tight end Taysom Hill. Give us 4 catches for 36 yards, 12 carries for 42 yards, 18.7 PPR points without a touchdown. Is this something to get excited about? Is this? I mean, obviously shootout. You know, if he's not rostered, we can't go and add him. We can't go and add him. But for those who are still able to make waiver moves, and you got a championship game looming, and you have tight end issues, and you're desperate, and you need to take a look here. Is this worth a look?
Right. I mean, that's a possibility. But if you're in a shootout and if you're out of the top 100, you might want to take a shot because you have to gamble. You have to take risks where a guy like that, he could give you 30. It's a possibility. But if
multiple touchdowns,
he could. Head-to-head game, or if I'm in the top 50, and it depends on the options, because he could get you. That could be a 1 week, like you said. It could be a 1 week wonder. So
they used him on more. He had more snaps than Estime, and I can't remember who the other one is they have there at running back. And then they used him to throw the ball. He outrushed him. He was their leading rusher. I don't see why they would change that next week.
Especially if Devin Neal and Kamara's out too.
And I hate to say it, but you almost feel like for about 3 or 4 weeks now, it's been like Taysom Hill's going to have that game. It's going to happen. He's going to have that game, and he could get 2 touchdowns and throw for another one.
100% right. It all depends on your circumstances and who do you have as the other options. So it's definitely
I mean, I can't think of another player that would put your opponents in a straight jacket in a rubber room than playing Taysom Hill in championship week and getting like 36 points out of him.
Man.
Does Yahoo still have him listed as a quarterback? I've heard that before.
No, I think they have him as a tight end. So I actually heard this today.
Yeah.
He was 2% owned in the Yahoo league. But yeah.
Jacksonville's got Indianapolis next week. Do we still expect them to, Trevor Lawrence and that offense to be booming the way they've been?
I wouldn't. I'm even looking.
Indy's season's done. Yeah.
Even over some of these guys, I got to look at my teams. But I was fortunate in one team, but it wasn't. It's not in the. It's in the consolation that by Mahomes getting hurt, he was there by default. But I wouldn't get off him.
No,
especially Indy's teams coming off a Monday night game, and that team coming off what they did in Denver.
Indy's on a 4-game losing streak currently. They lose tonight.
4-game losing streak, and they're coming off. They could be 5 tonight, right?
It'll be 5 tonight. They'll probably be pretty much eliminated at that point. 8-7's definitely not something. not where you want to be in the
I
standings.
mean, if you didn't lock in Myers already, it's
Parker
no
Walsh.
reason. You just got to ride him. I mean, guys.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Josh. You're more of a parlay. You and Joe. Hold on a second.
God bless you.
Is that a trap game for Jacksonville coming off a big win in Denver? Possibly. I mean, I've seen that. I'm not saying that could happen, but
I don't know. I think Indianapolis is just crippled at this point, especially if they lose
still
tonight.
a division. I mean, it's still a division game, and
Jonathan Taylor plays his head off. Then I guess. I mean,
and the guys for the Colts are trying to rally around Phillip Rivers and that, but I guess you could say it's a trap game, but I mean, I think Jacksonville's still got enough to play for,
Yeah,
because
they got the tiebreaker over Denver. So if
they can get the number one seed, can't they? If Denver loses again or something. So I think Jacksonville has to keep keep on the throttle because they're just starting to find their groove, and the way Trevor Lawrence has played the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they want to continue to build on that, and Cohen does. So I think they go at it.
Absolutely.
What is this shootout, guys? Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Pitts. These are the two players they drafted the superstars to be, wasn't it? I mean, you look at what they've done in the shootout. This is what these teams drafted these players for a few years
back. I was just looking though. Here's the thing. Kirk Cousins put up 24.5 points against Arizona this week in Arizona. What's Joe Burrow going to do against Arizona?
That's the game.
Trey McBride on the other side. Like if you're somebody that, and this kind of goes along with DFS and telling the story. You just so happen to have a Michael Wilson or a Trey McBride or Marvin Harrison, whatever, and Burrow and anything on the Bengals side, boy, you could really take off and run and gain a lot of spots.
A lot of people could gain in that prime time.
And I haven't looked at the weather, but I think it's supposed to be like high 40s, 50s. Like it's not going to be December weather in Cincinnati. It's going to be nice.
You could probably see 70 to 80 points in that game.
Yeah.
Combined,
And maybe Chase Brown puts up another 30 plus. Who knows?
That's why I targeted that Joe Burrow, Chase Brown. I thought was going to be massive come this time of year.
So did I.
And he had the game that we needed 2-3 more times, which he could have gotten if Burrow stayed healthy. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
It's hard to own both of those players and be in the shootout too. I mean, a lot of those
unless you had Chase Brown or Jamar Chase, and then you went and you grabbed Joe Burrow off the waiver wire.
Yeah, there could be scenarios, but
I live in Cincinnati, and I saw people picking Burrow up 2 weeks before. It was before they ever opened his window. And so I still thought he had at least 4 weeks. And we saw him get picked up in a couple of our leagues. And I'm like, what are these guys doing? And then about a week later, they started talking about Burrow coming back. And I'm like, how do these guys know this? Because I live in Cincinnati. I feel like I should like my phone should ring first.
It's Galaxy brain. It's Galaxy brain, and it's trusting the fact that they always said that Joe Burrow would be back at some point this season. They never really backed down from saying that. And he's a gamer. I mean, if you believed in the situation, that was probably right about the right time to go get him, like before it becomes a thing.
It was. I mean, that's the way.
Even if they didn't, even if they did get inside information somehow. A week or two ahead of time, but it's the anticipation. If you're anticipating it and you got yourself a real good team and you got the bench to do it, then
if you've got the bench to do it, because Jaden Reed got picked up that same week, I saw Jaden Reed get picked up in a couple leagues as well, long before he came back.
I'm telling you guys, Twitter.
Yeah,
that's the key to having fantasy football. I mean, all the reports, all this stuff coming out beforehand. I mean, there's no hiding, no getting away from anybody anymore. Like you can't sneak past anybody anymore. So much news and stuff out there.
Everybody has access to all the same info, and then you can spend money to get even more access if you want. Nobody can stop you.
I just looked at my
info's out there.
I just looked at the team that I have, Chase Brown. I didn't have Burrow all year, but he started him this week. I mean, I moved up inside the 358 spots with Brown in the. And you know what I'm the guy that got me there was Brissett, but I just went with Burrow this week. It's too late. I mean, I'm not going to get into top, even with another monster week at this point where the scores are, could have a great week and maybe get in top 75, but not the top 50.
Yeah, I'll tell you another one. Dak Prescott and them slowed down some too, haven't they? Last few weeks. Where they're not being as dominant as they have been.
Yeah.
So.
The Minnesota game was when the games get meaning. I like Prescott. I'm in Philadelphia, but I got a lot of Prescott, a lot of Pickens. So I'm not going to, be biased against them. When the games become big, that's when you see that. The Minnesota game, the game was important for them. When the games don't mean anything and they're playing bad teams, just look at it. That's where they'll excel. As soon as the games get important, as soon as they're playing good teams, he's not going to give you any type of consistency.
Nice. All right. So, guys, we're into the 8 o'clock hour. We got kickoff in 15 minutes. Why don't we jump into the Monday night game? We got San Francisco versus, why am I drawing a blank right now? Guys.
Colts.
The Colts. That's right.
Yep.
It's Christian McCaffrey versus Jonathan Taylor. I have important matchups dependent on tonight's game. I should definitely not have had a brain fart on who was playing tonight. But yeah, San Fran versus the Colts. It's the part of the show where we all give thoughts on how the game might play out, and we'll share one of our player props that we like. We each come up with one. And Josh throws it in a parlay on FanDuel for us. You can tail us. You can take either of our individual bets, however you want. But we all put together one prop bet each. I'll kick it over to – why don't I start with you, Josh? I'll kick it over to you since you got Steve's prop as well. You can share Steve's prop with us. You can share your prop and give us some thoughts on how you might see tonight's game play out.
Did Dan send one in?
Dan did not send one in. I think he literally might be like in a straitjacket in a rubber room when Quentin Johnston went off yesterday, and we were just like, could we not have 0.4 of those points 2 weeks ago? But no, it's all good. He's got a busy few days here. So, Steve's bet is Juwan Jennings anytime touchdown. I don't hate that.
No.
And then I ended up changing mine. I went with Kendrick Bourne over 2.5 catches. I like that tonight. So that's where I went. My dad is down 23 points in a half-point PPR league, and he needs 24 points out of Kittle and Jonathan Taylor. So give me your thoughts on that, guys, as you tell what your props are.
Wow, what's there to worry about? I mean, Kittle and Taylor.
That's me. I feel like I'm like, man, Dad, I want to say that's you've got it, you know. But he beat our only home league. He beat all of us last year, won the Super Bowl, and now he's
I think he's got a. I like this.
from
I like
returning
his
again.
I like his
it too.
chances.
I like it too.
I like
He's watching tonight, so I told him I'd bring it up to you guys and let him know your thoughts.
I think he's in good shape. He's got points on both sides of the ball every time somebody's on the field. So that's a beautiful thing in fantasy.
It is. I was. It's funny you mentioned that, Joe. I was thinking that yesterday when two of my guys were going, and I was like, it feels like you have an opportunity to get more fantasy points that way, but in reality, it's the same amount of minutes any way you look at it, like the player minutes.
Right.
But you just constantly feel like every snap something good can happen for you.
Right.
all he needs is about 6 points per quarter per both players combined. So
no tight end has gone over 20 points on the week yet. 20 points was like the cap on tight ends.
Yeah, Fannon's the highest.
So maybe Kittle pops tonight. He's kind of due to pop. I don't know.
Kittle is so much better with Purdy too back in the line.
100%.
Yeah, Pearsall being out helps too.
Mike, you said you did a prop for us. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't play him much really, but I asked Joey. I said, "Can it be a team?" And I said, "Yeah." Mine is San Francisco, but it's -4.5. You said, Josh?
Yep.
Yeah. I think unless they given Philip Rivers a bionic arm, I don't. I admire him. He's got guts, but I mean, he's throwing knuckle curves like 50 miles. The guy can't move. I mean, God bless him, but that I don't think the 4.5 points might scare certain people, but I'm not. I think it's going to be. They're going to win handily tonight, 49ers.
Steve says he's got Kittle going. Yeah, I expect a big game out of Kittle. My player prop is a bold one. I'm going bold here, but I'm feeling it. I think that you guys touched on it already. Brock Purdy, George Kittle. You like the Kendrick Bourne, Colts defense. This is a team that you need to get aggressive against. If you let them hang around, Jonathan Taylor can run the ball a little bit. They can sustain drives to a point, to the point where it gets annoying with the time of possession, and it could really limit a rhythm for your own offense. So I think San Fran gets aggressive tonight. I think they pass the ball more than they run. So I'm going with a Christian McCaffrey under 62.5 rushing yards. I think he definitely his overall total yards is set at 108. I think he goes over that. I think it's going to be a big passing game. I think you could see CMC going for like 6 catches for like 70, 80 yards. Wouldn't surprise me, and a touchdown. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets a rushing touchdown as well. I just don't think that it's going to be a priority to get CMC enough carries to go, that volume. I think Brian Robinson, might get a handful of carries tonight, especially if they happen to run away with the game, like you said, Mike. You think they can handle them? I do think that they
it's a good
can.
Point on Robinson too. I think he's played well, and
yeah. This might be something they want to keep CMC a little bit fresh as far as carries go. They want to keep him out of the trenches, and give him the more of a high value, versatile touches as opposed to the grinding touches. I still think he gets 10 carries, 10 to 12 carries. But I think Indy's got a stout run defense. If there's any strength in their game, especially at home, it's against the run. So I'm liking the CMC under 62.5 rushing yards, and that's my call there. I do think San Fran wins the game, though. I'm with you, Mike. Joey, you kick it over to you, man.
Yeah, Joe.
I think San Francisco wins, and I like your all's talk about Brian Robinson. The reason why I'm going there, but my prop is JT. I'm using JT in several different leagues. 18.5 longest rush, -120. But go back to the game. I like Brian Robinson call only because if they can jump out to a big lead, they'll rest him because next week's game is bigger than what this game. They have to win this game to get that next game, but they control their destiny with Seattle. If it stays, they'll have the tiebreaker. They could end up with the 1 seed.
There you go. Steve got a question. He chimed in with a question. Should he roll out Jennings as well or go with Tywar? And
I would only go with Warren if he can use Jalen Warren from Hester, but Jennings. I think Rivers just going to have a tough. I just don't.
But I think his biggest problem is he's got George Kittle on that team with Jennings, I believe.
I think they're going to be explosive. I think the 49ers are going to roll.
They're going to pass. I'm with you on that. I think I mentioned it earlier. I think they're going to pass the ball tonight. They're going to get aggressive and pass, and they're not going to play around with it.
To move, JT's going to have 200-something yards if they're going to be in the game. Just my opinion, but
Rivers is going to have to get down the field and in the end zone. He's going to. It can't be field goal fest and stalled drives and wasting too much time either. Because I honestly
might not even last the game. I wouldn't want to say it.
Maybe Rivers close his eyes and think I see Antonio Gates down there.
Hey, look, I'll be the first to say if he has a monster game, I'll be the first thing, man. I still give him credit for being out there.
I do too.
I don't know. What
him and Antonio Gates was good.
But you know what? Looks like she signed off on it, so just don't want to see him get hurt, really.
Well, he gets like
5 more years of insurance, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say
he paid a lot of money. He paid a lot of money. He didn't have. I don't think he's. I think that what. I think that's more in jest, basically. I don't think he's got a problem. I don't think there's any money problems.
He's got so many generations he's got to pay for now. All his kids,
Nice. All right, guys. Well, this has been a great show. We went over a few things. We gave our thoughts. We kind of freestyled it tonight, but I liked it. Joey, appreciate all your hard work putting those numbers together. Josh,
to look at,
Yeah. No, this is always interesting data, man. Interesting data because
it's tough, Joey.
Yeah, it makes you think about, where you drafted these guys. What can we do better in 2026? Obviously, after this year, investing in the early quarterback is looking like a thing of the past. I think, you could see quarterbacks fall next year more in drafts than they did, this year. A couple of years ago, the elite quarterback was going in like round 4. The year before that, it was up in round 1, round 2. This year was about mid-round 3, the first quarterback will come off the board. I think that this upcoming year, it's gonna be going later and later. I think it'll be in the 4th round at least this year.
I could see feel for 6th-round quarterbacks emerging. Like, for instance, I told Michael on the way over here, the quarterback I like going into next year, he's the Joe Burrow out west, seemed like, but I love Herbert. I like Herbert. He's run more this year than he's ever has too. I mean, he can still throw you 25, 30 touchdowns. Rough. And he can
stay 100% healthy. Yeah, that's the key for Herbert. He always falls into somewhat that little injury, but he's.
Him and Burrow. They're 2 of the best quarterbacks, and they get freak injuries. This 2 or 3 years in that Herbert's broke a hand.
Yeah.
I think he's done this before.
I'll tell you, looking into this week also, he didn't look good. He didn't look too good late in the game. Is Josh Allen? He didn't look. He's going up against the Eagles defense. It's going to be interesting for those people that need him because he's their whole offense.
You're just fueling that Joe Carlton fire of hatred towards Josh.
No, not at all. I don't.
Joe Carlton sitting back there and he's going, listen, guys. Trick is the number
What's
one.
What's with this fire of hatred? I see holes. I see holes in Josh Allen's game.
If he was 100% healthy, I wouldn't be saying that. But he didn't. He didn't look right.
He's getting banged up, man. They got to change that offense in Buffalo.
And he's going to need his legs for them to win the game and, put, especially for fantasy points out of him next week, because they don't really, him and Cook, they don't really have much else. They need
a wide receiver one in the worst way. Bad.
Yeah.
Steve Allen's the best QB in the NFL.
Stop it.
He's a Jet fan. Come on. He doesn't think he's good. Come on. He never can say that.
I love Josh Allen. That's my favorite player.
He's great, but he hasn't been, he hasn't been to the big dance. He's great for commercials and that.
I'm gonna tell you,
he's likable, but he goes to the golf tournament, celebrity. But he hasn't been to the big dance.
The playoff though, the AFC is wide open.
You go to the big dance.
The whole league is wide open.
Yeah, Drake May or Josh Allen, they have a clear path of no Patrick Mahomes out there.
Well, Jacksonville's looking.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, I mean, they're
Steve.
What are the Jets?
Here's a good one.
Arnold, they drafted. The Jets.
If the Jets drafted Josh Allen, would he be an MVP quarterback?
Woody Johnson, I don't know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's one of the worst run franchises in sports.
Steve's under the weather, and we're gonna kick him while he's down.
Yeah, I can't wait till y'all start digging into draft strategies and players that we can all discuss and see who we like and dislike. And I'm already looking for 2026.
Don't worry, Joe. Right after the new year, we're gonna have a new year, new ADP show. So we'll be talking about where we think these guys are gonna fall. We'll give our thoughts. That's coming in a couple weeks. So yeah, definitely, Joe. 2026. Thoughts on players, ADP movement, all that good stuff.
Get
some early thoughts. Get some no rest for the wicked. That's right.
In the leagues we all play in, you can't sleep a month or two. Everybody else has already start drafting as soon as Super Bowl is in the NFL. See, they'll start filling leagues.
You get that little mental break towards the NFL draft, like after you already gathered your information and your thoughts, and you evaluated your teams, and things stay stagnant for a few weeks there, for like a 3 or 4 week period. That's when you get a mental break, I feel like. But then the NFL draft, then all the rookie evaluations start happening, and who's going to be NFL ready and whatnot. And the rookie draft happens, and you're right back at it.
And I'll get to worry about that after February, after the Eagles win the Super Bowl. So, I can deal with that.
Oh man, I think after this season, that
Mike is back in.
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers on that retreat that he goes on where he sits in a dark room for 2 weeks, and I think I need to do that and reset my brain.
Right.
I usually go and draft prank around maybe a NFBC team just to clear the mind, let it reset.
I'll do that. But I got
I'll start.
You talk about doing fab in football. Fab in baseball.
It's awful.
I ran out of my bridle doing too many drafts. It's so addicting, and that fab, I wasn't prepared on that fab. And then that's tough. You talk about
$1,000 in baseball is nothing.
We got a question up in here. Who are we playing in the championship week?
Joe Burrow, without question. Without question. They're playing Arizona, and he's beat up. He's going to be on 3 legs now, and he's going against the Eagle defense that might get Carter back. And they're playing great right now. It's now Burrow without question.
I think so too.
Go ahead, Joey.
I think you got to have the good Jacoby Brissett game in order and Joe Burrow will go off too. I think it's going to be a fantasy banana.
Burrow's going to put up 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's going to be easy.
Burrow is pissed He wants to put up 450 yards and another 45 points. But I'm not going to sit here with a Bengals jersey and hat on and tell you to start
not being biased
Burrow over Josh Allen. Not doing it.
You're just being objective right there. No, Allen's not going to be 100%. He's going to.
Well, I will say this to that guy's
Eagles defense. Nah,
if it's 4-point passing, we go Josh Allen, right?
Nah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't
For
matter.
I agree.
I agree with Josh. Burrow's. You can count on Chase. Those guys are competitive guys. They're not. They're gonna look for blood against that Arizona defense that really is not that good.
That is a sneaky game for fantasy this week, especially like Josh talked about. It's going to be fairly nice.
You want to have that Chase and McBride.
Trey McBride might have 300 yards.
You got to Chase McBride team and Chase Brett. If you got those and a Michael Wilson even added, you could sneak all the way up if you.
Pick Harrison.
Somewhere Billy Waz is having flashbacks from like 4 years ago. When he had Burrow and Chase and I think I can't remember who it was from the Ravens or something like that. And he got it. They hit twice, I think, in the playoffs, and it just exploded and brought him from nowhere all the way up to win the primetime.
105 points between Burrow and Chase or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Walls was a good one too.
I'm gonna close it out on that note on Billy Waz. Go out on top with the champ, with the best, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's good. One of the best.
Absolutely.
Now I'm seriously considering starting over Josh Allen. I mean, I think it's valid. Michael Price 4684. Appreciate you tuning in. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, we do this every Monday night. We recap the weekend games. There's only a couple of weekends left, but we're gonna do it to the end. But I think it's valid. I think the guys made great points. Arizona's offense is probably gonna score. Cincinnati historically has the worst season defensively against tight ends. Arizona happens to have Trey McBride having a career year. Jacoby Brissett got that offense going better than Kyler Murray ever did. Marvin Harrison Jr., another week healthy. Michael Wilson still rolling, scoring touchdowns every week. I think it could be fireworks, could be a shootout. I'm not opposed to the call. I would play Burrow over Josh Allen myself. I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Which wide receiver, Josh? For what's his name? DJ? Is it the
Turner?
Who will he be on? Harrison.
If I was the Bengals defensive coordinator, I'd have him on Michael Wilson because Marvin Harrison's slow.
Yeah,
he can't separate.
Right.
Fantasy points guys talk about their ASC score, their average separation score, and his is terrible. So I would put one of the other quarterbacks on him, put DJ Turner on Michael Wilson.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter because nobody can guard Trey McBride that plays for Cincinnati. So the best defense is going to be just latch onto him and just take the holding call anytime a ball goes anywhere near him or he starts to run past you. That's the Jalen Ramsey strategy.
Take the 5
I'll go ahead and take the L from the other game last week. I said start Kobe Parkinson. Maybe Arizona's just going to go in and play 13 personnel. We'll just play 13 personnel.
Kobe Parkinson caught a touchdown and gets called back.
Yeah,
wasn't a bad call.
Yeah.
Josh, what was the odds on our parlay? Did you put it in?
All right, so I had to bet Joe's straight for some reason. We've done this before, and it lets me do that line, but tonight it wouldn't let me. So I actually got Jonathan Taylor longest rush for over 17.5 on FanDuel.
Okay.
That was minus 114. And then our parlay, which is a 4-legger, was plus 15.57. So $10 returns 165.72.
That'd work.
I can't think of a better night than tonight to hit.
There we go.
John Taylor.
And what would you get on the odds on mine was like what, -115? I think it was -115 on DraftKings on the 62.5 rush.
Yeah, it was -112.
There you go. That's not bad.
Colts helmets look good tonight. They're black.
All right. Well, should we finally close out the show so I can go see these helmets? No? Nice. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the Fantasy Savvy YouTube channel, please do so. We're not too far off of 1,000 subscribers total. That's a big goal for us. Hit the like if you like that show. Mike, Josh, Joey, appreciate you guys as always. Great time.
Absolutely.
We'll be here same time next week. Hopefully everybody gets what they need in their matchups tonight, and hopefully those bets that you put in cash. And that's pretty much it. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy the football game.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Good call.